Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're taking a look at the Boutique Whiskey Company's Islay Mystery Distillery, Batch 2, Dustin. 375 ml. A guy in Chicago picked a few of these up.
American edition.
American edition. So small, Dustin. Look.
Yeah.
We'll try this, but you know what? Still a good amount to get to know a whiskey.
Great. Yeah. And you paid, what, $160, which is an incredible price.
$160 for a 25-year-old Islay whiskey at, I don't know if it's cask strength or not, but it's 48.7%. I bet.
It's good enough.
I bet it's probably cask strength.
I think I heard it is. Now, I don't know if this is 2 barrels they blended or 1. I don't know how that worked out. I didn't look into it. I have seen this bottle going for $850. Now, I would assume that's a European release at the 500 mLs, but I don't know that that's the case.
Okay, yes, this is bottle 8 or
Batch 2.
Yeah, batch 2, bottle 828 of 990. 828 of 990 tells us nothing.
990 doesn't tell me much because if it's a sherry butt, that could definitely be 1 cask. But that also depends on how many of these are U.S. versus U.K. release. But for our UK friends, we always get into these weird, odd discussions with our UK friends. So US, we get 375s. You guys get 500s because 500 mLs are illegal to sell in the US.
Really?
Yeah. So it was kind of one of those things where they wanted, basically they didn't want people, doing slightly smaller bottles so the consumer wouldn't catch it. So that's why we've always had 750s, while the rest of the world switched to 700 because of tax reasons. They went to 700s. Mm-hmm. So finally the U.S. has agreed. I think maybe we've changed it to now maybe we can get 500s. They've kind of opened it up. Because let's be honest with you, man. I mean, a 700 versus 750 is an incredibly hard thing to differentiate visually.
All right, now that boring shit's over. Let's get to the whiskey. I'll say this. I thought it was a 500 ml, and something I always make fun of our buddy Keith about. I'm like, oh, you didn't read it? And I got him like, oh, 375, no wonder. I thought it was a great deal for $160.
Still a great deal, but it was at 500 it's even better.
Exactly. All right, so what Islay is it? We don't know. It looks like sherry maturation, but hell, who knows?
Yeah.
It's hard to. All right, so Dustin, first thing I'm getting is a red crayon and mint or menthol.
Throw in a little bit of custard on the back end.
I'm excited to see what you get.
I'm literally on the same notes as you. I was waxy red note,
Yeah,
and then
waxy red.
Yeah, waxy red. I wasn't going to say crayon, but when you said
I
don't get the paper. But that's the only part I'm missing from the crayon, which I get a lot of times. I get that paper.
I get the first time I've ever said red crayon.
And then I totally get that mintiness.
Menthol.
I'm trying to think of the words here. It's a slight note that is pushing lemon, maybe hinting on lime when I first initially nosed it. Very much reminiscent of a Kalila. Now, I know the rumor has been Ardbeg, and in the defense of the Ardbeg discussion, I will say the finish is a little bit cooling on the nose, which is indicative of that. I'm also getting a little bit of the in-between there, which is Laphroaig. So those are the 3 distilleries.
I was going to say, it's Kalila, Ardbeg, or Laphroaig, but I don't know which one. But I've done this by process of elimination. There's no Bunnahabhain nuttiness. It could be. I haven't ruled out Bruichladdich, but it's definitely not a Bowmore. It's definitely not a Lagavulin, and it's definitely not a Bunnahabhain.
It's not rich enough for Port Charlotte. Port Charlotte is richer.
But it's. I agree. It's one of the 3 of the Laphroaig, Ardbeg, Kalila.
To be 48, it's too thin to be Port Charlotte.
I'm picking up a twinge of lemon. I was not picking that up before.
I'm not going to lie, Mike. We've had a couple Lagavulins today. It's actually got a little bit of Lagavulin lemon.
There's some type of lemon in it.
But
super smoky and sooty.
I was going to say, the peat smoke's very sooty, which is taking me back to a dirty Kalila or Laphroaig.
Could be Laphroaig, could be Ardbeg, could be Kalila.
It's not Ardbeg peat on the sootiness unless it is a sherry cask, in which case Ardbeg can do that with sherry.
This boutique, it's a natural color. This is absolutely a sherry cask.
I'm with you, but I had to say it out loud. Like I had this distinct that like
This-
this sootiness has to be like Ardbeg mixed with sherry. Ardbeg doesn't do this without sherry.
Yes, I agree. But also, there's a signatory Lafroig 16 1988 vintage 1988 about this that I get big time too. I almost knocked my hat off.
I'm with you. I'm getting everything you're saying, man.
And like the ashy note in it reminds me of Lafroig. Dirty sherry cask Lafroig.
The ashiness is Lafroig Lagavulin. It's one of those two. It is not Kalila ashiness unless it is a very dirty Kalila.
Kalila's malleable, but I don't know if you can by itself take it in this direction.
But if this is 2 cask blended, you could find 2 casks to get that.
Because the lemon loaf is there.
Yeah.
2 dirty fucking sherry casks. I'm sorry. 2 dirty sherry casks.
No, I got to go back in and because we're focused so much on what it is, and for the advanced Scotch drinker, the things we're saying make a lot of sense. But if you're just coming into this, I gotta say,
What are we talking
it's
about?
pleasant.
Yes.
But it's more effervescent, more drying, less sweet, less oily, less like on the fruit side. It is very dry, earthy. Yes, we get those red fruits up front, but the back end, the whole finish is dried smoke bringing through like these notes with a heavy oak. Again, the 25 years is not subtle here. This is aged whiskey. It's not antiqued or anything, but it is heavy on the oak.
Agreed. There is oak note. I don't know if I necessarily guess it at 25 on the nose. 18, 21, sure.
Well aged, but it's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and super sooty, smoky. Definitely I'd say sherry cask matured.
Yeah. If you're around some fruits, man, something's burning and it's overpowering everything else.
Yeah, I would say grilled lemons and perhaps grilled blood orange. I know blood orange isn't a thing that you would grill.
Honestly, I just get a lot of soft bourbon cask notes, American oak notes.
Strong vanilla.
Toasted. Not just vanilla, but I mean like the oak notes itself. Just soft, gentle, but like it's just oak, nice oak all the way through. Very
Could be American
even.
oak sherry.
Yeah, but my point is it's very like even. Like it's not spiking where like it gets heavy oak and then it goes back. It's just smooth.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Nice. Nothing wowing me on the nose here, Mike. Like this is definitely not making me think, oh my God, wow. Like this is something you have to run out and buy. That said, for $160 for even a half bottle, man, like smells very inviting, very good. The palate's going to decide if it's worth the buy for sure. So let's give it a little taste.
Initially waxy, fruity, turns red. And as soon as you swallow, menthol and smoke. But thin and insubstantial like a Lafroig. This isn't Ardbeg or Lagavulin. It's too thin. Super smoky, but too thin, which makes me think Lafroig.
Oh,
Short finish. Dissipates quickly. But the flavors I like. And now a linger of orange. A linger of blood orange and light chocolate. A light milk chocolate. A watered down light milk chocolate.
is menthol. Like very subtly written and almost impossible to read there. I'm pretty sure it says menthol. Again, it goes into that. And the reason why that jumped out to me is because I am getting menthol notes heavy on the finish here.
It is. It's so smoky.
Yeah, so up front, wood spice, burning oak, nothing crazy, nothing offensive, very much classic, kind of basic Islay. You could get that note on a 10-year, you could get that note on a 25-year-old.
Very basic Islay.
It could go anywhere. Yeah, no, I don't get that at all. Let me give it a little more sip here.
It's just smoke and it's menthol and it's some lime and blood orange fruitiness.
Okay, I mean, on the arrival, when you mentioned the waxiness, I could see a little tropical waxing note in there, like a tropical Skittle thing.
I said Skittles. Remember, a red Skittle initially. When I first popped this open, I told you that was exactly what I said. You red Skittle.
To me, it's more of a pink Skittle.
Okay, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, the reason I say that is like you get the tropical Skittles; they're like the pastel colors
And that waxy.
So I could kind of see. I would never, without having been given,
yes,
but without like actually getting prompted, I would not have gone there. Like, so yeah, there could be some tropical notes here, but they're very subtle. Waxiness, for a second there, I did start to actually get the upfront like sweetness of like a Klein Leash,
On the palate?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what I say that, though, I'm more thinking like Highland oiliness. But then it dries out. The oils go right away. Like,
Yeah, it evaporates quickly.
Yeah, like-
it softens up.
so yeah, the oils and waxes just disappear super quick.
Lafroig?
I was just getting ready to say everything. Okay, so now that I'm done talking about the flavors, yeah, it's straight up Lafroig for the first 95% of the experience. The last 5%, though, did give me a hint of an Ardbeg finish. Reminding me a little bit of like the 19s, where you get a little bit of
There is a cooling note to it slightly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You know what? You could tell me either, and I'd be like, oh, I should have known because. And if it was Ardbeg, I should have known because that cooling note. There is a little bit of cooling on the nose and a slight wisp of cooling on the palate. Yep. And usually that's a dead giveaway for Ardbeg. But the thinness of the finish and the thinness on the palate as soon as you swallow screams Lafroig.
Well, and to your point you just made on the nose, if you tell me it's Ardbeg, I should have known it wasn't Lafroig because there's not enough lime. But if you tell me it's Lafroig, I'm going to say, oh, this is just one that didn't get the lime notes. Like, it just came off a little more lemon than lime. But you know what? The sherry's masking a little of it, and that's what it is. Like, dude, I'm telling you what, if you're trying to figure this out, and here's the thing.
I've been trying to figure it out ever since I got this bottle.
So
I read 2 reviews, and I was like, well, I think this, and I think that. And 2 guys picked 2 distilleries, and neither one were consistent.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to get to, Mike.
And I think one's absolutely wrong. But I think one guy's right. I think
so. And here's why, Mike, I don't feel bad reviewing this whiskey the way we're doing it. When you put a giant MFing question mark on a whiskey bottle.
And the back of it.
And the back. Yeah. Which I don't know if you'll be able to pick it up.
It's white. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had a black light, you would.
Yeah. I wonder if it's glows in the dark. Anyway. When you put a giant question mark on a whiskey, you are telling the people, all right, guys. Guess. Figure it out. Speculate. They want speculation. So that's what we're giving them. And you know what? This is good whiskey. Probably very good whiskey. It's not exceptional whiskey.
Agreed.
The fun of this actually is trying to figure out what distillery we think it is. Like,
Agreed.
That is actually the value proposition that this is actually created.
Agreed.
And you know what I bet they did, Mike? I bet you it's 2 barrels and it's 2 different Islays.
If they mixed a Lafroig with a Kalila or an Ardbeg, shame on them. Shame on them, but it's fine.
Did you ever watch Frasier? I know we've had this conversation.
Dude, it was on Netflix. I told my girl, we're going to watch Cheers first, and then we're going to watch Frasier.
I've done that.
All the Cheers.
I've done it twice through in my life.
Well, she's born in 1991, so she loved Cheers.
When I was a tiny little kid, my parents were still watching Cheers, and then Frasier came out, and
Frasier was better.
Frasier was better,
way better.
That's it. There's an episode of Frasier. If you haven't figured it out already, they're competing to become like the master sommelier or whatever wine taster at their wine club.
Him and his brother?
Yeah.
Yeah. Niles.
Oh, the cork master. Here's to the cork master, master of the cork.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're... Niles, he was so pretentious. He did that so well.
So, the last wine they gave them was a blend that was like 55-45.
And they each got one half of it. Yeah,
and they both got one half, and so the winner was the one who picked the 55%, and that was Niles.
That was not... Dude, I know exactly what you're
And that's exactly what I think they did here, is they were like, we're going to mess with you guys, because I truly believe this is a blend of 2 different Islas, because it's so confusing, because I know these distilleries so darn well. And I've had every one of these distilleries 25-year-old expressions. I've had multiple 20-year-old expressions. I've never had a 30 from Ardbeg. I've had 27, though. I know these distilleries. I don't know what this is.
There is not 3 better whiskey reviewers on YouTube better educated to make this call than you and I.
Yeah, I mean, malt reviews are the only other guys who probably have.
I said no more than 3. Yeah, maybe malt. There's a couple of guys.
Ralphie, maybe he's been lying to us, and he's had way more expensive whiskey than I know. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But we know Islay. If we know anything, we know Islay. Watch it be a Bowmore.
This is Bowmore.
I would be stunned. Like, there is no plasticine. There's no clay note whatsoever. But it does give an odd tropical fruit note that. It wasn't a fruit note that people described in old Bowmores, but I've never had a really old Bowmore, so it might be.
I mean, I've had some I've never had like vintage, but this isn't vintage.
Yeah, if I had to guess, I would be willing to bet a significant amount of money. A portion of this is Lafroig. Now,
Yeah, Lafroig's where I'm leaning as well.
Now, if there's some Kalila added or some Ardbeg added, this is 25 years old. It was bottled 2023. I want to say 2000. I believe 2023.
Yeah.
So that would put around 1998. Ardbeg was open.
Yeah, that would be
possible.
I would.
They wanted to keep the stills going.
I would be shocked if they were able to get an Ardbeg cask from that era, unless they got a new make and they've been sitting on it for 20 of those years.
What would that have to cost?
Well, yeah,
more than the 160 that would have cost me to get secondhand.
But they're going for $850 on some places, so
then $250 on others. I mean,
yeah, I mean, he basically kind of implied he got a super deal. Like maybe the store priced it wrong, you know?
Well, here's the thing. I bet they at least sold it for that.
Oh, I agree.
If it's old Ardbeg, I would think it would be more expensive.
I agree.
Lafroig's a malleable spirit.
Even Lafroig, though, like that's a pretty good price.
So you think full $750, you're talking $320. That puts it significantly cheaper than the normal 25-year-old Lafroig, but in the ballpark, 30%.
And by the way, the reason I keep going back to Lafroig is the proof. That's what Lafroig 25-year-old comes in as, around the 48 mark.
You're absolutely right. You know what? I had not given that some thought.
So that's kind of
almost exactly where.
If it's a Kalila, it would be. In fact, that's actually on the high side, even a little bit.
For Lafroig.
Yeah.
No, Lafroig will come in on Lafroig 25s. We've had 9 vintages. Look,
we both had so many samples sent to us on top of that because people, thank you guys. You guys reach out and
well,
send us samples.
We know the Lafroig 25.
Yeah.
The high end was the 18 at 52. The low end was the 14 at 45.1. Mm-hmm. So we're working 45.1 and 48.
Right
this
there.
is 48.7. And think about it. The 2017 was 48.9.
Yeah.
They're all right there.
52 was the 18.
Was 2018, and that was
52 even.
52.0.
Yeah.
And that was the highest one. 19 was 51 and some change, 51.4, 51.9, something like that. But 17 was under 50. 14, 15, under 50.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Kalila, you've had the 30, 35. Those are both
58,
one's pushing
56.
60. Yeah.
Yeah.
We know Lagavulin's wild in the variations.
Lagavulin, there'd be no way to test it, but Lagavulin
Yeah.
tastes far richer and thicker and meatier on the end.
Yeah. And
Trust me, it ain't Lagavulin. I've had every Lagavulin
yeah.
known to man. That ain't Lagavulin.
I don't know what Ardbegs do at that age, cast strength, because there's really not a lot out there. But I had a 27, but it was it was pre-close, and that one was in the 47 range. But that was pre-close.
Yeah, the old distillate, new distillate, or new.
They're so different, and this would be like the first of the new distillates.
And I have no metallic in this. No Ardbeg metallic. It would be there. I found that in the 23-year-old. And I've never had an Ardbeg that was age stated other than the 10 that I didn't find the metallic note on going forward.
I don't get a lot of it on the 19s.
22, 23. I'm not saying a lot.
But 21, 22, 23 were all old distillate. The 19s.
Sure.
In fact, actually, even the first.
All the 19s it was there.
In fact, truth be told, I don't know if we've had a new distillate 25, because I think the 25 was the last of the old distillate.
Did we get the metallic note in your 25?
I don't remember it. But but then that was such a weird bottle. Anyway, so back to the whiskey itself. It's kind of thin.
Yep.
Beautiful smoke.
Little indistinct.
That's what I was getting at. Is like that's part of why it's so difficult. Is this is kind of nondescriptive, good Islay whiskey
In an average cask.
And I'll be honest with you, Mike. I think the Kalila 25-year-old, the standard release, has a better overall experience, even though it's way thinner and way less.
The nose does.
Even the finish on it, though, has got that. It's just
Okay, the finish.
It's beautiful finish. Now, obviously, up front, yeah, the mouth feels. Yeah. My point is, this does not impress me even versus the least of those official bottles, which is kind of sad because Boutique has so far to date just blown my freaking mind.
This isn't a bad whiskey, though.
No, but to date, Boutique has blown our mind on almost everything we've had.
Dustin, nice way to segue into score time. It's my bottle.
Yep.
You go first. What's your score?
I'm going to give this... Ooh, man. Let me give one more sip here.
Take your time.
F it. 88. I was between 88 and 89. It just doesn't do enough here, Mike, that stands out. It's just... I feel like you get the same flavor on like a 12, 10, 15-year-old cask. I don't think 25 years has done anything to make this special. And it's a really good whiskey. It's awesome. I think you got a great price on it, but nah, 88.
It is not distinct. It is. I do not get 25-year-old whiskey here. This is 25-year-old whiskey like Glenfarclas is 25-year-old whiskey.
Even that has some
twinge of tang to it. You know what I mean?
It has some richness in the finish that gives you hints of that. But
brother, I'm an 87, just slightly lower than you. 88's a good, fun whiskey. This is an all right whiskey, and this is a cool whiskey to figure out. Mm-hmm. But if we knew what it was, and we had no idea what the age statement was, it was an NAS whiskey. How much time would we spend on this, and what score would you give it then? Let's just say this is a Lefroy NAS. What do you give it?
And that's a great point, Mike. And that's why I've been going back and forth, because I was thinking of going even lower.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah. So again, this is my first time with this one.
Like always, we make the person who is first time tasting whiskey, we put you on the spot. You're not off. I'm not saying you're off.
No. So I may be a point or even 2 points higher than I should be here, because I am obviously the 25-year statement. The 48% is giving me a bias. The fact that I love Boutique Whiskey Company is biasing me.
Say all that's gone. Say there's no Boutique whiskey, there's no Islay, there's no 25 years, and there's no 48. So everything that's on this label, I love. Mm-hmm. I love the age statement. I love the ABV. I love the range where it's coming from. I love the bottler that put this into the bottle. All 4 things. Those are my favorite 4 things about this whiskey. Those 4 things aside, what's this whiskey, Dustin?
I'm going to go back with a little drop here because I want to have it neat again. And the reason I want to do that is because I want to make sure the water's not the reason I'm dropping it.
This is a nice whiskey.
The nose is better neat.
This is a nice whiskey. I don't think you're that wrong. I'm an 87. I've had this 3 times. I just don't think it's anything special. I think for 25 years old, it's disappointing. And I agree with your... And 88 for a 25-year-old it is disappointing. If it's a Lefroy or an Ardbeg, or a Lagavulin, or a Kalila, or a Bowmore, it's way higher than a fucking 88. So we're already saying it's a disappointing Islay at 88.
So,
but it's still an enjoyable. I said 87 because I'm not going back to this anytime soon. I'm not saying, hey man, I got this great whiskey. Let me check this out.
No, I'm sticking with the 88, and I actually think I'm a more solid 88 than I think you're thinking, because I do think the smokiness of it is really nice. I like the fact that it is heavy on that wood smoke. The finish is very, you just feel those clouds of smoke coming through.
It is smoky.
The red fruits are much better, neat. Water actually really did lower my perception a little bit more than I realized, because it's not...
It didn't handle water.
It's not... The thing is, though, water didn't overtly, in my perception, didn't change drastically. But going back neat, yeah, it's a better whiskey neat. So I'm good. I'm a solid 88. I would, for a full bottle of this, you said it was $200 again. I would actually...
I said it was $160 a full bottle. It would be $320.
I know, but I'm saying if it was $200 for a full bottle, I would be very happy to buy this. Forget all the other stuff. Forget all the marketing, all that. $200. I would not want to pay any more than that based on the experience I'm getting. But I tell you what, it is long-lasting, rich, super smoky. But it's...
Bottle of smoke.
But it's got a lot of... It's lacking everywhere else. It's
nothing exciting here.
It's got a nice red fruit up front. But yeah, it's very good.
Nothing exciting here.
But, if you put a 10-year-old statement on this...
He's like, oh, it's a nice 10-year-old.
I'd be like, man, that's a good 10-year-old. Well done.
87?
Yeah. And I'd be like, if I gave an 88, I'd be like, man, 88 for a 10-year-old? That's amazing. And it's only $65.
It's punching below his weight.
But, if you put this next to an Ardbeg 10, this would win. But it would not be like, wow, these are not even meant to be in the same room.
Nope, a couple of other whiskeys. If you want one a little smoother and a little more sherry, sure, go with this one.
Smokier, a little longer finish, but you would also not be getting some of the cool, lemon lime, complexity of the sweetness in the malt that the Ardbeg 10 has.
Hey, an Ardbeg.
No, this is not Ardbeg. No, I would strongly say it's Lefroy or really off-profile Kalila. But I think it's
Kalila. That's not Kalila's smoke. We've had plenty of sherry Kalilas. When has their smoke tasted like that?
I've had some
Menthol, that?
Yeah, my Blackadders I've got some menthol.
Okay, the Blackadder, I'll give you that. All right, so I could be wrong. I would love to know. God, I wish I would know.
I'm standing by it. That's a blend.
I don't even care.
I think it's a Khalil Lafroy blend, man.
I just want someone from the routine.
There's not enough lime in this thing to be freaking Lafroy. Like, that's the part that I'm struggling with.
Yeah, it's just covered up with a sherry.
There's not that much sherry here, though. I mean,
no, it was sherry turned it all menthol.
We've had all these 25-year-olds with tons of sherry. Like, this is not any more sherry than the other 25s we've had.
Different sherry.
I don't even think it is that. I think it's the same.
American oak sherry. American oak.
Yeah.
Oloroso. American PX sherry. Is that a thing? I don't know.
I'm sure it is.
Those are our thoughts on this particular whiskey. If you guys had a chance to try this Islay, 25-year-old Mr. Islay number 2.
Great mystery.
I want to know.
So whiskey.
Better mystery than whiskey.
Exactly.
Well, that's the whiskey mystery. What do you think?
Oh, good call.
He'll know.
Phil, this is your bottle, apparently.
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Well, yeah. What is it? All right. Those are our thoughts on whiskey. If you guys have a chance to try this one, let us know what you guys think. Dustin, until next time, we'll whistle, folks.
Happy mystery drinking.
See you next
Cheers
time.
to Phil and Deepa.